This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. I've said this before many times, and I'm going to say it again because it's so important. We all have things we need to heal from. And sometimes it's hard to even process. We may say, well, yeah, I'm not sick. I don't have an injury. What do I have to heal from? We've all gone through a life, especially a childhood. Little pieces there pilot us through our subconscious today as adults. And those things we potentially need to heal from. How do you do that? And how can you use the power of astrology and a life coach to help move you forward? We're going to talk with one today. Lots to talk about, especially since astrologically we are just about to begin a Mercury retrograde. Technically, it's already began. She is the founder and owner of The Whispering Soul, and so great to have her back with us. Our professional of the year, Nancy Volante, on the program. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Steve. Always exciting and fun to be back with you.
Have a confession. I
Yes.
feel like I failed because during the full moon last night, I was laying in bed. I was tired. I didn't feel like getting up, but I did not charge my crystals in the moonlight. And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. And I didn't do it.
That's okay. I
Can
didn't
you?
do it either, Steve.
All right, I feel better now. It's more of a lost opportunity because it only happens every so often. Can you? I know I pivoted here for a moment, but can you still recharge your crystals the day after the full moon?
Absolutely. Because the
Okay.
full moon you're feeling the full moon 5 days before and 5 days after.
Just like a
So,
Mercury
so you're
retrograde.
right on time.
Yeah. So where do you want to start? Healing is something we're going to tackle today, but also we're about to begin a Mercury retrograde. What are you feeling?
So, it's a big question to ask. What is healing? And I've been in the wellness field, the healing field, the self-growth field for many, many years. And I've always asked myself, what is healing? How do we do this? I mean, how does it work? And, what I've learned over the years that first of all, it's not linear. It just doesn't happen. Now, as I say that, I'm going to pull back and say, well, yeah, if you have a cut and you want to heal, that's pretty linear, right? So those kind of things are linear, unless you get an infection or whatever. But when we're dealing more on an emotional and spiritual content or within our mind, body, and soul, it takes a little bit of work for one thing, because I like what you said in the beginning about, our childhood, and we have these pieces. That was such a golden nugget that you said, Steve. I appreciate it because that's what it is. So we've got these pieces ever since we come into our mother's womb. And maybe even before that, we bring those in with us. We don't, that's all grist for the mill. But what we do is, depending on how much they hurt, what the trauma is, what we've developed around those hurts, those belief systems, subconsciously, unconsciously,
Hmm.
we start to hide those parts of ourselves, right? And we all do it, every single one of us, and we're all unique in that way, how we travel through and unravel that. Because for me, and this is just me, I'm learning, and it took many years, a couple decades even, and still learning, that healing is integration. How do we integrate the parts of ourselves that we want to hide, that we want to suppress, that we want to repress instead of express?
Hmm. And could you give some examples of what some of those things that we want to suppress might be?
Yeah, I'll use myself as an example. So, I had a cousin who was, I loved her. We were like sisters, but her journey and her thought was much different than mine. She was very narcissistic. And, so I didn't really want to confront her when I was in my teens and early 20s. So I would repress the feeling of, you know what? You're kind of rejecting me. You're kind of putting me in a place where I don't really feel good about myself. But I didn't want to voice that or express that, so I suppressed that.
Hmm.
So then you have to go back and then the body will tell you what is important and what needs to be, what can, because that's how it's a beautiful mechanism. What can you handle? How can I heal this? So we take bits and pieces of ourselves, and it takes a lifetime, maybe it takes 2 weeks to bring those parts, and we talked about parts before, bringing those parts of ourselves back up to look at, to understand, and to integrate, because really the ending result in healing is to come back to wholeness, to come back to where you're truly connected with your soul purpose.
Is it true that when we're children, we are? We're pure, we're connected to us. Maybe we don't obviously or consciously know our life purpose, but it's in front of us. We're kids, we're little, we're five, we don't know what to do
Yeah,
with it. But then
exactly. Yeah.
life begins there, and it starts at birth, or if not before, where
Yeah.
your environment starts shaping you. And it's my belief that when two babies are born, assuming they're both healthy, doesn't matter what color they are, what language they are, what cultural backgrounds, they're exactly the same. We have call it a clean slate, nothing has been done yet except they're born and we're ready to go. And then life begins, and then environments kind of shape who they eventually become.
Right. Exactly. And I just wanted to add one thing to that. And
Sure.
it's very true. But even to go further back, it depends on the birth. Do you know what I mean, Steve?
Mm.
Depends on the birth. What kind of birth
The
did
actual birth
did
itself.
the actual birth itself?
Because guess what?
Yeah,
That's trauma.
exactly.
That's your first trauma. I mean, I can't believe, that's a pleasurable experience for a baby.
Yes.
Um, and I always say, in life and anything, you got to go through the birth canal before you can get to the other side.
That's so true. And even like as adults, maybe we do something like we go on a retreat that has to go through caves, right? I'm just thinking about that. So that takes one back into the memory because you're going through darkness, you're going through small caverns and all this. So all these things that we can do outside of ourselves help with the integration of healing, with one major aspect or purpose that has to be involved with it is, are we aware? What is our awareness?
Mm.
What is our consciousness? And it's different throughout our lives. Some people just want to live their life and that's it. And that's okay because we have choice, right? Other people like me and you and maybe the listener, we want to grow. We're curious. We want to understand. We want to get in there. Either way is okay. But the major thing is the heart. Can we come from the heart? Can we find a place of peace within the heart?
Mm.
And that's why I've connected it to Mercury retrograde. And you're wondering, wow, I'm thinking Mercury retrograde, and I'm like, I don't know about this plane. I don't know about this traveling. I
Am
don't know
I
about signing a
like
contract.
here you go, here we are trying to heal. And why do you need to heal? Because there's anxiety, there's stress, there's fear, it's all of that. Oh,
Exactly.
let's throw in Mercury retrograde just to make you feel better.
And I know you love them, Steve. And you know what, though? They're important for you because as we've looked at your chart when we've been together on the show, you're ruled by Mercury. It's very important in your life. And Mercury isn't just about these things that happen on the mundane level, it's our communicator. I think Mercury goes much deeper. Much deeper. It's the communicator. It's how we learn. It's how we either are we kinesthetic, are we tactile, are we auditory? How do we feel? I mean, it's part of the nervous system. Not in the same way as like Uranus is part of the nervous system. That's a whole different chapter, but part of the nervous system in a way that how are we taking in information? How are we processing, right? So, and I've said this before, I love retrogrades. So I'm bringing up this Mercury retrograde because it's really a stepping stone for healing. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. So it's going to station, Mercury is going to station November 9th in Sagittarius. So when it stations either to go retrograde or to go direct, that's the most powerful time.
Hmm. Well,
Bec-
isn't it the beginning of the ninth is technically the beginning
yes,
of this retrograde?
yes. But when it's stationing, it's really powerful. It's like bringing a ship into the harbor to park, right?
Hmm.
It's okay, it's going to station there, right? But now in this case, the ship is moving out. It's going illusionary of going backwards. So within those two, it's just it's at that point when it's really powerful energetically. And it's in Sagittarius, Steve. Sagittarius. Well, first, let me just say that the retrogrades in Mercury are about reflection, review, rethinking. It gives us an opportunity to go inside and slow down to see what needs to come up, maybe to heal or to see or to express. In this case, Sagittarius. So that's around our belief systems. It's around what is the bigger picture that I really want to move towards? Am I going to do that through travel? In my perception through other cultures, through other people that are the same but yet different than me? Or am I going to
Hmm.
do that through spiritual growth? And it depends where it is in your chart, what house it's in, what themes are in. So that's going to be with us for a while. And Mercury in Sagittarius traveling, I kind of think they like each other. I know that oh, go ahead, Steve.
I'm traveling on the
I
ninth.
know you said,
and
and
and it's been on my mind, and I'm like check and double check and make sure. And of course, now with the government
I was going
shutdown,
to say, yeah,
so yeah, I can't control that, but it's on my radar
yeah,
as I hope the plane is.
yeah, and you will be. And you know what? And that's something on the mundane level to look at, because it does, Sagittarius is traveling. Mercury does like to travel. There is something going on in our collective, in our society that could give some hiccups. But you're aware of that now, so you're going to be two steps ahead.
And can I share something too with this whole
Please.
retrograde thing?
Oh, yeah.
I, with a colleague, we're starting a networking group in our area, and we want to do it really elevated and really want to kick it in. The date had changed, and it's during the retrograde, and I can't explain the uneasy feeling I've had over the last week of should I don't shouldn't do it. Shouldn't do it during that. We if we can pause it. So we moved it to I think December 10th, somewhere around there, well out of the retrograde.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I have like a breath of fresh air, like I can breathe. It's I had a block, and it wasn't because of the retrograde. It was an energetic feeling that my intuition was like, no, 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 you don't want to start something new during the retrograde.
And that's okay. I think that's really wise because you were listening to your intuition, you were listening to the communication.
Yeah.
Mercury in Sagittarius right now, the bigger picture, right? Because this would be the bigger picture, right?
Yep.
Now, it could go the other way. I'll give you my example. I sold my yoga studio in June, and I don't remember the dates, but we were going to be in a Mercury retrograde. So I thought, oh my God, do I do this? Do I not do this? But the opportunity was there, the energy was there, it felt okay. So learned so much about being so meticulous about everything that I was doing, my communication. And if it wasn't, I'd look back on it, I'd rethink. But what I didn't do, Steve, is I didn't sign the contract.
Hmm.
So, which means I didn't sign the contract and I didn't sign the sublease. That I didn't do. That I pushed forward, so it was out. So you just have to, it's being mindful and conscious of what the astrology is giving you. But in your case, you went with your intuition. That is fantastic.
It was. I just said
And
to
it's
my
big.
partner in this that yeah, I don't know if we should do this.
Yeah.
And he gets the retrograde thing. He's got a level of
Yeah.
high level of spiritualism, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
And as soon as he texted me and said, "Yeah, I made some calls and we're changing the date,"
See, but what a great partnership.
I felt so much better. Like I was just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's that. We did the right thing. It's
I think
clear."
you definitely did the right thing for yourself because wherever it is in your chart, it could have been so, Sagittarius could have made it so big, and Sagittarius can get wild with energy, and you didn't want that, right? You don't want that.
I want it to be big, but not in that way.
And not in that way.
Right.
So you're going to pull it in a little bit, okay? And you've already established the consciousness around that because the reason why this Mercury retrograde is so appealing to me and so deep is November 19th, Mercury will retrograde into Scorpio. So we got two things happening here. We got Sagittarius and Scorpio. So
Hmm.
Scorpio is about, okay, we did all this big stuff and about our belief systems and our truth and what we want to do as a vision and what do we think about this? It's going to take you back into a deep dive into your emotions.
So I'm going to be transparent here, if I may. And
Please.
because this is on my mind, the 19th, a very close friend is having surgery and yeah, significant surgery. And I knew that it was during the retrograde when I was told about it like a few months ago. And I just said, check and double check everything, check with the doctors that they're ready to go. They have everything, testing are done, blah, 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 blah. But you mentioned the 19th. It's on the 19th. Any thoughts?
Now, for me, because I mean, I'm not a doctor, but Scorpio is about, people that are Scorpios are like could be surgeons and um, in the field of medicine and stuff. The thing I would be is that he gets the A team,
Mm,
the A team, and
yep.
then I would see where the moon is. If the moon is in Scorpio, which I think it's going to be, I mean, yeah, I'm sure everything is going to be okay, but that's something to look at.
Yeah. Again,
And
comes down to
I
check and double check.
double check. That's all. Ask questions,
Yes.
communicate. It doesn't mean that we have to stop living or if we need something done for our health that we don't do it. I mean, plenty of people do that every day. What it's really asking is, I need to speak my truth. If something is going to bother me on that, or leading up to that, I want to communicate it. I want
Yes.
to clear it up.
It's funny.
And I think
Within
that's really,
all of this, it makes me wonder when you got something coming up, retrograde or not, medically connected. Excuse me, doctor. What's your date of birth and where were you born? Get all of that information. You know what I'm saying?
I think in the future when we will talk about Pluto and Aquarius, that might happen. I'm serious. That
I
might
mean,
happen
you have the
because
doctor's
we're going
credentials,
into a whole,
right? I'm kidding, but I'm not.
well, you're kidding, but you're not. I'm telling you, that might be something. You're onto something. But with this Mercury in Scorpio,
Mhm.
there is support for transformational healing because that's what Scorpio is.
Wow.
So the bridge and I wrote this down, the bridge between having Mercury in two signs, going, back and forth in two signs
Mhm.
is Sagittarius. And this would be good for your friend to tell him or her. Um, Mercury in retrograde in Sagittarius, understanding. Where can we understand more of our humanness and connect that with the humanness of others, connect with the bigger picture? But it's bringing it inside for you to think about and to reflect about. That's so beautiful. And then when the Mercury culminates into Scorpio, it's about transformation. It's about if we've really thought about what this understanding is with us and with the other, possibly, where our commonalities within our differences, so forth and so on, we can then maybe understand the deep dive into our emotional landscape to create a transformation. What is healing? The beginning question, the integration of what is being thought about, what are you feeling, what's going on in the environment with your experience during this retrograde. If that makes sense.
So I always
I'm
ask
hoping it does.
it does, it very much so, especially adding
Yeah,
Scorpio in there. The Nancy 10 scale. I always ask this when these things
I love it.
present this retrograde. And there are, for those who may not know, 3 a year, typically, 3 weeks in length for each. Um, one
This one's a long one. Yeah.
1 to 10, yeah, right. 1 to 10, 10 being this retrograde, very, very impactful for our lives. And I'm not even going to say how impactful. We're talking about healing today, transformation, all that, but just the impact
Yeah.
on our lives. 1 to 10, 10 being, woof, oh yeah, where you at?
I'm going to say a 10.5
Wow. Mm.
because of the opportunity again of the stepping stones from the full moon in Taurus that is asking us to understand our worth.
Mm. Mm.
And it's in polarity. It's a polarity point with Taurus and Scorpio. So how do we share our resources? How do we bring our resources together personally so we have a climate that is understanding as we move into this Mercury retrograde Sagittarius and then in Scorpio? I think these are stepping stones, boom, boom, boom. And they're not always that way, but that's what I'm
It's
intuiting.
it's almost, Nancy, like the perfect setup. Like we had the full
Yeah,
moon. It's almost like it opened the door, and now here's the path to walk. Um, I feel we should end on this because I'm feeling it inside, and I'm experiencing it now more than ever. Know
yeah,
your worth. This is a time for you to make that realization. Know your worth,
yeah.
and also with that, what you deserve.
That is so beautiful. May I read one thing that I wrote to end with?
Please.
It says, when Mercury goes retrograde, communication with others slows down, but the communication with the soul deepens.
I was waiting for the last part to come, and you said it. Yeah. And that's the truth.
Oh, it
Communicating
is the
within.
truth.
And this is the door has
Yeah,
been open. So search the soul. If you got to talk to yourself verbally, nobody
do
else
it.
around, or just, mentally say the right things to yourself. But wow, 10.5. Okay. Um, thank you for what you do and what you bring to our forefront here based on astrology and of course
Yeah.
connecting it with the coaching, thewhisperingsoul.net. That's your website, right?
That's right, Steve. And thank you so much. And happy travels to you. Have a great
Thank
time.
you. Is it okay to say happy retrograde? Can we do that?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's be different. Let's do a different mental attitude towards it. Yeah, happy retrograde.
Happy retrograde. Look at it in a positive way instead of like on guard. All right. We'll catch up next time, which will also be during the retrograde.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.